From the time I was a child, the angels would tell me something was wrong with my stomach. Eventually, they told me to visit a doctor. As soon as he examined me, he scheduled surgery without delay. When he saw what was going on inside, he removed my entire large intestine and a significant portion of my small intestine. That was the moment I died. I left my physical body and entered heaven. It's difficult to explain. There was no pain, no fear, just peace. Your soul is a spark, a light from the Creator. My name is E.R. Byrne, and I'm from Ireland. I was born in Dublin and lived there until around the age of 7, when we moved to Ballymun. I loved it there. It felt more connected to nature. We were very poor. Often, we didn't have enough to eat. Usually just bread and jam. I remember how hard it was for my parents to provide clothing for us children, let alone for themselves. I was undernourished, which led to health issues. At one point, I stayed with my aunt, and I still vividly remember the breakfast they gave us: sausage, bacon, egg, tomato toast. It was the biggest meal I'd ever seen. That moment made me realize just how poor we really were. Through all the ups and downs of life, I've come to see that every experience helped shape who I am. As a child, I didn't realize I was different. I didn't speak until I was about 2.5. I wasn't developing the way people expected, and doctors told my mother that something was wrong. But it turned out I was dyslexic. Back then in Ireland, children with learning difficulties were often institutionalized. Growing up, I was constantly told not to draw attention to myself, to stay quiet so others wouldn't think I was foolish. In school, I was ignored, put in the back of the classroom. Many times I cried. I would wander off alone into the fields. I did that a lot. It felt like I didn't really belong to the world around me. I think I've always been more in touch with my soul than with the human part of me. When people were cruel, when I overheard unkind comments, the angels would comfort me. They would tell me that others simply didn't understand. I've always seen angels, physically, and for me, that feels completely natural. Since infancy, I didn't know they were angels at first. They were just there. Their appearance is incredibly beautiful, with delicate wings that move gently like silk or mist. They've been my friends, my mentors. Everything I've learned, they've taught me. They even taught me how to truly see. Not just look at the world, but to perceive it deeply. Most people glance around a room without really seeing it. But I see everything between us. The movement of the air, the particles of the universe, the presence of spirits and angels, coming and going in fleeting moments. One of the most extraordinary angels is your guardian angel, the one assigned to you for your entire life. That angel never leaves your side. If you ever feel unworthy or alone, remember that your guardian angel sees your true, perfect self. There is no one else like you, and your angel loves you unconditionally. I never went to college because I couldn't read or write, but I've been educated in a very different way. I've had the greatest teachers, angels and spirits of loved ones, guiding me since childhood. The angels warned me early on that something was wrong with my stomach. I didn't complain much, even though I always felt unwell. Eventually, they urged me to go to the doctor. He referred me to a specialist who ran tests and immediately scheduled surgery. He removed my entire large intestine and much of my small intestine. That's when I died. My soul left my body instantly. I was in heaven. It happened in a flash. It's so hard to describe, but I felt perfect. The body in the hospital bed, surrounded by doctors and nurses, wasn't me anymore. My soul, your soul, is a piece of divine light, part of God. That realization is beyond incredible. I don't think humanity fully understands that yet. You always have the choice, the free will, to become aware of your soul. In heaven, I saw my Father, whom I loved deeply. He had passed away young, but in spirit, he appeared as he did in his 20s. He loved fishing, and I noticed he was wearing a hat adorned with the little flies he used to make. It was like all the other souls and angels made a path, and I ran toward him. Though I no longer had a physical body, my arms felt real as I reached out to him. It was a soul-to-soul embrace, like two lights connecting. That's what your soul truly is, God touching God. We don't need to fear for our loved ones who've passed. Their bodies may be gone, but their souls are not. You're never truly apart from them. No matter where you go, in this world or beyond, they can be with you. You can feel their presence. Sometimes, you might even catch a glimpse. You might hear them. Your loved ones who have passed. They often send us messages and watch over us constantly. We don't need to wait until we pass on to believe in their presence. Why not believe now? It felt like I was standing still on a moving walkway. The angels I knew were surrounding me, tall and radiant. Some of them looked down, smiling gently, encouraging me to keep going. Although they seemed high above, I could hear their voices as if they were right beside me. Then I heard God's voice saying, "Lorna, you have to return. There's still so much for you to do. Stop hiding from me." That's something God always tells me, even now. "Lorna, why are you still hiding from me?" And I'd respond, "It's easier to hide here than in the human world." But God insisted I had to stop hiding and go back. So I did. I returned, though I didn't want to. I love my children, and the thought of leaving them was painful. But I knew they'd be okay. You only come back if you're meant to. Many people wonder why someone returns and what great mission they're supposed to fulfill. But really, it's simple. It all comes down to love. Humanity often overlooks love, expecting something more dramatic, but doesn't fully grasp the depth of it. I was in intensive care for almost 2 weeks. I was still on a ventilator. I remember the surgeon visiting occasionally, sometimes resting his hand on mine. One thing I truly cherished was the constant presence of angels and souls around my bed, many of whom I didn't even recognize. It was like an endless procession of light moving gently past me. Eventually, the doctors removed the breathing tubes, and the surgeon returned to check on me. He asked my name, clearly surprised when I answered him correctly. "Do you know where you are?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "I'm in hospital." "You performed the surgery." His eyes were wide. He couldn't believe I was fully conscious. He told me I had been gone for 10 minutes. They had expected brain damage and didn't understand how I had come back. Later on, I met a wonderful young man named Joe, and we fell in love. I remember sitting in the car with him one day before we were married. The angels urged me to tell him that I could see them physically. I was afraid to, but I followed their advice and said it plainly. "I see angels." Joe looked at me and said, "Only priests and nuns have spiritual experiences," then gave me a little kiss on the cheek. I got out of the car feeling disappointed. I said to God, "You were wrong about him." But of course God wasn't. We got married, settled in a little house in Maynooth, and had 4 children. Over time, Joe's health declined. He underwent heart surgery, struggled with strokes, and developed diabetes. I remember one night getting into bed beside him and seeing his guardian angel standing silently at his side. I was told he wouldn't wake up. I stayed there with him, holding on to that moment. I called emergency services, but just before the ambulance arrived, I saw his guardian angel shift position and gently lift Joe's soul from his body. The room filled with light. My son Neil rushed in, trying desperately to revive his father. I wanted to tell him Joe was already gone, but I couldn't bring myself to say the words. That was one of the hardest moments for our family. After Joe passed, I remember Archangel Michael coming to me and saying, "Lorna, I have a message for you. God says it's time for you to write your first book. I laughed in disbelief. How am I supposed to write a book? I asked. I can't even read or write. I thought there had been a mistake. I kept that part of my life a secret, even from most people close to me. I was afraid of being laughed at, and I told the angels and God as much. But they told me to be brave. One day, there was a knock at my door. A man stood there, and I invited him in for tea. He said he was just stopping by. But to my surprise, he brought in a large box. He placed it on the table and said, "This is for you," then left. To my amazement, inside the box was my very first laptop, along with a printer and voice recognition software. I turned to Archangel Michael and said, "I don't know how to use this," but they told me, "It's for writing your books." Later, an angel named Elijah told me help would come. A couple from the village stopped by, and when I told them I couldn't read or write, the husband reassured me. "You only need to press a few buttons," he said, and helped me set everything up. That's how angels in my hair began. People say my life has changed completely, but to me, I'm still the same person. I don't worry about putting food on the table anymore. But what matters to me is doing everything God and the angels have asked of me. And they still haven't told me everything yet. Sometimes I still look up and ask, who do you think I am to do all this? One question that deeply troubled me was what to call God. There are so many names: Jesus, Allah, the Blessed One, the Holy One, the Father, the Son. So I asked, what should I call you? And God simply looked at me and said, "Lorna, what do you call me?" I answered, "God, of course." And he simply said, "God is universal. Use that word, God." One thing God often says is, many are called, few are chosen, and very few of those chosen actually say yes. But some of those few have said yes. And that's how the sanctuary in Ireland came to be. It wouldn't exist if they hadn't said yes. At the sanctuary, we've started growing food. And with this food, we try to feed as many people as we can. We pack boxes and deliver them to neighbors, to people in need, and to shelters for the poor. I truly wish I could help more people around the world. I know I write books, give talks, and lead workshops, but I can't do everything. Unless more of those who are called also say yes. People often ask me about prayer. And one thing I always say is, prayer is powerful. In fact, it can move mountains. It can change the world. Imagine if everyone prayed just a little more. Not just for themselves or their families, but for strangers, for people they've never met. Many people say, "But how do I pray?" And I always tell them, you're praying right now. When we talk about God, about the angels, about humanity, love, compassion, or our soul, that is prayer. For me, prayer is simple. It doesn't need to be 1,000 words. It can be one word, one thought, one gesture. If your way of praying is standing on your head, dancing, swinging, or swimming, then that's your prayer. As long as you're sending that light and hope from your soul into the world, it's prayer. And all of those prayers connect. They weave together. This world needs more hope. Every human being needs it, because hope gives us life. Hope gives us purpose. Hope helps us dream. Hope helps us take that next step, even when the road is difficult. If we all shared more hope and more love, we could change the world overnight. I truly believe that. I see so much goodness in people. Yes, there's a lot of negativity and pain in the world, but the love and goodness I witness outweigh it 1,000,000 times over. I've never asked God, what is my purpose in life? Because I believe the answer is simple. To live is your purpose. If you're not living your life, if you're not embracing the journey, then you're missing the point of it. Don't wait to find out what's at the end of the road. Walk it, live it. Even if your life is hard, even if every step feels like a struggle, Just being alive is a precious gift. You are alive. I am alive. We're here, right now, sharing this moment. And that is something we should treasure. We should embrace life. Open ourselves up to it. Experience as much as we can. That's the gift. Sometimes I wonder how different life would be if we could all see the world as it truly is. Not just what's in front of our eyes, but what lies beneath and beyond. There's a whole dimension most people never notice, because they're too busy, too distracted, or simply too afraid to believe in more. We've been taught to fear the unknown, to silence our inner voice, and to only believe what we can measure or touch. But what if the most important parts of existence can't be measured at all? What if they're meant to be felt? In the quiet of the heart, in the warmth of a presence we can't explain. I've stood in places so still, where time felt like it had folded in on itself, and I could hear the whispers of something ancient. Voices not of this world, but not separate from it either. These moments taught me that everything is connected, and nothing, no thought, no action, no tear, is ever wasted. There are energies that follow us. They gather around us when we laugh, and they cradle us when we cry. I've seen them. I know their glow. I know the hum they leave behind in the air. Like a memory you haven't lived yet, but somehow recognize. People assume the spirit world is a far-off place. But it's not. It brushes up against our reality constantly. It's in the flicker of a candle. It's in the breeze that carries your name. It's in the stranger who says just the right words when you needed them the most. One evening, I was walking through the woods near the sanctuary. The sun had dipped low, casting golden threads through the branches. And just then, everything shimmered, like reality had become translucent, letting the divine bleed through the surface. I stood there, breathless, as if the trees themselves were praying. That's the thing. Nature prays without words. The wind prays. The rivers pray. Even the stars speak their prayers in the silence between their light. And if you sit still long enough, you can hear them. You can understand them. Not with your ears, but with your soul. I once watched a child look up at the sky, eyes wide with wonder, and I thought, this is what it means to be close to heaven. That purity, that total openness. Children haven't forgotten how to see. They haven't been trained yet to doubt what their hearts already know. Every one of us is born with that light, that inner compass. But the world teaches us to bury it, to pretend we're small, to dismiss miracles as coincidence. And yet, miracles happen every single day. The problem is, we stopped calling them by their name. There was a woman who came to one of my talks. She didn't speak much, just listened quietly, with a sadness in her eyes that clung to her like fog. When it ended, she came up to me and whispered, "I saw my mother last night in a dream. She was young again." She smiled, and I told her, that wasn't just a dream. That was a visit. When we dream, the veil between worlds thins. And sometimes, just sometimes, it lifts entirely. That's when our loved ones reach through, not to haunt us, but to remind us that we're never really alone. That death is not the end. It's only a doorway. And through that doorway, there is music, light, and the most overwhelming feeling of home. It's not frightening. It's not cold. It's like stepping into the arms of everything you've ever loved, all at once. You recognize everyone, even those you never met in this life. I've met souls who have never incarnated, pure beings who watch us with compassion, marveling at how brave we are to come into the human experience. Because this world, as beautiful as it is not easy. To be human is to forget, and to spend your life trying to remember. There are ancient souls among us, people who carry wisdom in their bones. You feel it when they walk into a room. The air shifts. They speak little, but every word matters. Sometimes they don't even speak. They don't need to. Their presence is the message. I believe we all have a hidden name, a name that only the soul knows. It's not the one on your birth certificate. It's the one written in light, spoken by angels when they speak of you. If you've ever heard someone call your name in a dream and felt like it reached your core, that was your true name. There was a time when I doubted all of this. When the world's noise got so loud, I thought I'd gone mad. But the angels were patient. They waited in the silence until I could hear again. Until I remembered who I was. Not just a body, but a soul with wings folded within me. You don't need to have a near-death experience to connect with the divine. You don't need to wait until your body gives out to know you are eternal. You only need to be still. You only need to ask. The response may not come in thunder. It might come in a feather. Feathers have always been signs to me. They appear out of nowhere, on paths, in rooms, on windowsills, just when I need a reminder. We're here, they seem to say. You're never doing this alone. And I've never once picked one up without feeling a rush of warmth through my fingers. I know there's more to life than what we've been taught. I know the soul doesn't age, doesn't break, and can't be lost. It may get quiet. It may retreat when the world gets too harsh. But it never leaves you. It's your anchor, your compass, your eternal flame. And perhaps the greatest secret the angels ever whispered to me was this. You don't have to earn love. You are love. From the beginning. That's your origin. That's your truth. Everything else is just a journey back to remembering it. Thank you so much for walking this path with me. It means the world to have you here, listening with an open heart. None of this would be possible without souls like yours, willing to see beyond what the eyes can perceive. If this message touched you in any way, brought you peace, hope, or even just a spark of light in the darkness, I ask just one thing. Please confirm you've received this message by writing, God is faithful. And remember, you don't have to walk this journey alone. Join us. Be part of this movement of faith, light, and purpose. Subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell, and come along for the journey. Because the more hearts united by hope, the more light we bring into the world. May God bless you deeply, today and always. Glowing star.